this video, I'm going to show you how to use Azure AI Search as knowledge in Copilot Studio. So today we're going to start inside of the Azure portal. And in the Azure portal, you'll need to have it set up where you create yourself a search service. So I'm going to assume that you already know how to create a search service inside of the Azure portal since you're watching this particular video. Now, once you have this, you're going to need to be able to go into your search service and import and vectorize data. And in the case of this, I'm actually using a blob storage to be able to do this in mine. And I'm going to go ahead and select this particular location. You'll see that I need a container, and I've got some sample data inside of this particular blob that I'm going to use. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit next. Now, the next thing that we'll go to is it's going to ask you about vectorizing the text. And in the case of this, I've already created an Azure OpenAI service. You can see it here. And I've given it a deployment model, and you can see I'm using text embedding 3 large as the one that I want to do with this. And then I'm just going to go ahead and acknowledge that I understand that there's going to be a cost associated to this, and I'm going to click next. Then this particular set of data, I don't have any images in it. It's simply just a Excel spreadsheet with a table in it that's going to provide us answers about property values and property questions. So we're going to go ahead and click next. Now, I'm only going to tell it to do this now. You should do this on the frequency that you want your indexing to be done. For me, I'm just going to go ahead and say create, and then I'll just create one, and I'll just take all the defaults. Okay, so now everything is done on the Azure side of the house. Now we're going to flip over to Copilot Studio. Okay, so now inside of Copilot Studio, what I have is I have an empty Copilot here. I haven't put anything in it. I've just called it a realtor assistant. Other than that, I went ahead and turned off the ability for the model for it to use general knowledge, just so this way we can force it to be able to go in and answer questions about properties and things like that. And I didn't want you guys to see it use any potential knowledge that was in the model. I wanted to force this through. So one of the things that you'll need to be able to do, though, is you'll need to create a connection to the Azure implementation that we had earlier. So let's start by doing that. So you can do that by clicking over on the menu item here, and we can go to Power Automate. Now that we're in Power Automate, one of the things that we would look for is coming over here to More and going to Connections, because we want to add that connection to our Azure AI Search implementation. Okay, now that we have gotten into our connections, we can click on New Connection, and then I'm just going to search up here, and I'm just going to type in AI Search, and you can see here that it pulled it up. I'm going to go ahead and say I want to access this with an access key. Now, what we're going to need is we're going to need the endpoint URL, and we're going to need the admin key. Now, let's go get those from Azure really quick. So looking at our Azure Search implementation that we had, one thing we're going to need is to grab the URL here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And inside of Power Automate, where we're creating our connection, we'll go ahead and paste in our URL endpoint, and then we'll need to go get the admin key to be able to make it where we can search. To get the admin key inside of Azure, you'll just simply go to Settings, go to Keys, and you'll see that here are your admin keys. What I'm going to do is just copy this first one here and flip back over. Now that we're back inside of the configuration of the connection, I'm just going to paste in the key into the admin key section and hit create. And now we have created our connection, and you'll see it down here in the bottom. Now that we've done this, we can jump back over into Copilot Studio. Now that we're back inside of Copilot Studio, now we have all the things that we needed to do completed. So now what we can do is we can actually go in and add this as a knowledge source. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and click Add Knowledge. And you'll notice that it's not on the main page. You have to go into Advanced. And so I'm going to jump into Advanced. And under Advanced, we'll choose Azure AI Search. And you'll see that it found the Azure AI Search connection that we already have established. You could update the description here, or you could update the knowledge name if you'd like. That's really up to you. For this particular demo, I'm just going to move on forward. Clicking Next. You'll see here, this is the name of the index that we're going to use. If you had multiples, they would show up here. You can go ahead and take the defaults out of this for the most part. And just like that, we've now added ourselves the ability to have this realtor assistant with Azure AI Search. Again, I turned off this particular setting just because I wanted to force this thing through so that you guys can see that it's not pulling this from any other location. And so now we can go ahead and do some testing. So that particular data set that I had is primarily just information about property values and things like this. So it's think of it as helping us find properties. So what we can do is ask it for, do you have any properties for under $1 million? And you'll see here that it actually comes back and it tells us, yes, there actually is some properties that are under $1 million. Let's ask some follow-up questions about it and say, tell me more details on the one on Natchez Valley Lane. And I could even tell it, say, put that in bullets. And here you go. Here's all the different information about that particular property and things of that nature. This is the first implementation of this actually working with Azure AI Search. I believe this is only in a preview state at this point, but it is something for you to go check out because a lot of people have been asking for this particular feature to be able to go in and do this. So I hope you found this video to be super helpful today. For more videos like this, please like and subscribe to my channel. And as always, you can try Copilot Studio at aka.ms/trycopilotstudio.